Before I start talking about the topic of today's video, which is again going to be regarding the housing market in Canada, uh, please comment and put your opinions regarding the situation in your area that you are in currently. How's your housing market wherever you are in Canada watching this video? Is housing affordable in your area? Has your wages gone up? Specifically after COVID, how do you feel about the situation in the housing market, rental market, and in general with your wages? And if you can comment as well about the social situation, have things changed for the better or for the worst, specifically after COVID? All this development is going to be for rentals. I mean, people are being trapped into this apartments like sardines. Now, the reason people can't afford to buy a house again is this money that you're seeing right now, this type of mega development, speculative investing money that the mega rich or investment companies have now, such as BlackRock, Vanguard, etc. So virtually the regular person in Canada is locked out of the housing market. The access level of a regular Canadian to housing is restricted with various bylaws, zoning restrictions. There's various entry points where regular people are restricted from entering the market unless they end up going through the system. Now, do you guys think that's fair to create so many restrictions on a basic right that every individual should have? Specifically, it's the government that's creating as many restrictions as possible. That's why you're seeing so much speculation gaining ground, the investors gaining the upper hand exactly because of government hampering a free market. Look at this massive development happening now. I mean, the amount of speculative money that's being poured into the market is absolutely unbelievable. The problem that's existing in Canada right now is that regular people don't have access to land. To buying this piece of land here, a regular person basically has no access. They have to go through so much bureaucracy to even get to the point of owning a house. I mean, let alone you can't even get a mortgage to buy land, or it's very hard to do so, and most people don't even try to, or even get a construction loan where you would do it yourself in a more affordable manner. You would build and own a house. That's basically not reachable for most people due to the way the system is set up. Mainly the system is set up by the government for the people that own the banks and the rich people, basically to speculate and make money off of the regular people that need to have housing, need to have shelter. Regular people are having to compete now with investors such as this, with speculative money. The other level of hampering for a regular person to even have access to buying a house is exactly the government and the government regulations. Now, in Canada, land is owned by municipalities, which are basically corporate profit-making units that sell this land to people for profit. They're not here to make things any affordable or better, although they will say they do, but they're not here for that reason. The reason they do everything is for profit, and that's why most people are now being cut out of the market, because prices are going so high that only certain rich people and investors and investment funds can afford land. So regular people are now becoming renters. They're becoming renters that work for this system that's owned by the few. So the pyramid system is developing more and more. On top of it stand the owners, and from the up down system is developing more and more, and now it's reaching to a level where people don't have access to housing anymore, to home ownership, I would say more precisely. So they're going to have to rent more. Rent is going up as well. So at every level, the regular person is losing, but specifically they're losing at the most important level, which is access to home ownership. This is a very basic right which didn't exist in feudal times, and it seems like we're returning to those feudal times in Canada, where people don't have access to home ownership anymore because of, not because it's banned, but because it's so expensive now that there's gonna be only a certain class of people that work for the system and the owners of the system that have access to it, to home ownership. Most people will be renting coming up, and whoever doesn't work for the corporate system and doesn't fit into that system will be basically locked out and restricted from home ownership. And we will have a caste system basically, and we already have that in Canada, where there's a large class, a middle class, which used to be able to own houses. Now that middle class is turning into renters, and vast majority of Canadians will end up being the new middle class, which will be renting instead of home ownership and property owners. Property ownership will be restricted more to a higher level class. That class will be the owners and the managers, while the majority of Canadians will be the renters. And above everyone will be standing the owners of the system and the banks, which will be the owner class.